Grand Rising, everyone. Grand Rising. How's everyone doing this rising? Hope all is well.
Grand Rising, everyone.
And can we get some chats, some ones? Can we get some ones in the chat this rising to make sure that everything is coming through clearly?
Okay, I got just the attachment assembly background with the sunrise and music.
Chats, some ones. Can we get some ones in the chat this rising to make sure that
Okay, it's a delay, but yeah, the sound is coming through.
Yeah, I heard it. I'm trying to see if I can fix this like real quick.
My bad.
No problem. All right, we'll see how that works. So, Gabrielle, how was your weekend?
It was good. It was good. It was interesting and good. Definitely informational. How was your weekend?
Very okay. No complaints. No complaints. Kind of busy around the house and locally.
Right.
Normal.
Got some organization done. Yeah, some motivation. Yeah.
All right. Anything new?
Yeah. Community gardens is like a really awesome thing.
Yeah, I know.
Really, really awesome. There's a lot of not only resources, there are a lot of great ideas to play around with doing that. So yeah. And I mean, I don't know if that's new, but kind of new for me. The more I find out, the more excited I am.
Yeah, I know that feeling. I definitely. Which brings us to today's show, Relative, is basically we'll be going through a walkthrough of how to set up a community garden for those who are interested in it. Basically, step by step from beginning to end, basically. Thanks again, Gabrielle, for pulling that info.
Yay!
No, you were saying earlier on your research on it that you found out some more information about further education.
Yeah. So there, this one particular school that I'm interested in, where they teach you not only the ins and outs of herbalism, if that's where you want to go, but also identifying what is in your yard, the next person's yard, if you're driving down the road, just identifying plants and what their uses are. I mean, you can see something as wild berries and that whole caution, don't eat this, don't touch that, blah, blah, blah. Well, if you know how to identify them, then you can basically forage them. You can harvest them. So it was It was real interesting to come across that, where you can identify what you see.
And you say there's programs to teach you how to do it, huh?
Yeah, not only programs out there to teach you how to do it, you can also have HUD pay for those programs so that you can take those classes and obtain those certificates or degrees or whatnot.
So more funding on top of funding on top of funding, huh?
Yeah, and not out of pocket.
What are you talking about? You mean free?
Yes. Free. Only thing it costs is basically your time to fill out whatever form that your local HUD department will require you to fill out in order to be able to have access to those funds. So basically it's your time. That's the only thing it costs is time.
And this is basically something that you were saying you were finding out that it's basically in every state.
Yeah, it's okay. So every state has a HUD program. Now, some states don't, they may not have a program established specifically for like the community garden. So in some states, in some areas, you know, whoever is willing or wanting to do this, they may be the first. But and this is what I found out by doing my calling around, calling to my local HUD department, asking questions, calling around to different numbers and getting information. It basically breaks down to this. In my area, the funding is coming from the community block grant. So basically the city, the county receives has received a certain amount of funds. You contact your local HUD department and ask them, hey, what is it that you need from me, or what application that do I need to fill out to be able to partake in the program to receive funds for whether it's extended education, training, whatever the case may be. And they'll let you know. For me, when I called, the lady let me know that just fill out the application. She said the application is also available online. She said either come down there, get the application, or go online. So I went online, downloaded the application, filled the application out. Once you fill out the application, you turn it into your local HUD department. And on the application, it should say, it asks you questions, what you're wanting to do, if you're needing assistance, whether it's job placement, extended education, home, wanting to find better housing, wanting to purchase a house, whatever it is. Like, it goes through detailed questions. And I pulled some up for other states to see what their questionnaire looked like for their application, and it's pretty similar. Couple of questions off because every state is different and every area is different, but for the most part it was the same, where it's asking you what you're applying for, the funds, if it's housing, education, training, whatever, even down to business. If you're wanting to establish a business, what you would want from the program, what help or assistance you want from the program to assist you in your endeavors. So yeah, all it takes is a call and an ask of what do I need to do, or how can I participate in this program so that you guys can assist me going forward.
And basically you can do this from online, the classes and applying, right?
Now the classes, and this is for me particularly, the school that I want to take these classes from is an online school, but you choose the school. So they're going to ask you, is this short-term or long-term education? If it breaks down to a training class or an educational course or class, they're going to ask you, is this short-term or long-term? But you choose the school. And depending on where you're at, if it's something that's covered under HUD, and it's something covered by them, then they'll you'll go through the process and steps of getting the funding through them. If they don't have a program within HUD for whatever school you choose for the education, they'll refer you to a department that they, or an established business or program that they work with to make sure that you receive those funds to cover training and education. But you choose the school. So like if it's a community college, most of them, I haven't checked all of them, but most of the ones that I checked out, most of the HUD programs that I checked out, they work closely with the community colleges.
So, most definitely.
And even if it's not for a community garden, it's with anything. If you're doing extended education or wanting training in something that will result in a better, and I don't know if better quality of life is the right terminology, but to improve yourself for self-sufficiency, then it's covered. It doesn't just have to be the community garden.
Basically trades and skill sets in a sense.
Correct. So like, what is that program? I used to hear it a lot when I was younger, where Job Corps, like something like Job Corps. But this is like where, you know how Job Corps takes young people and says, okay, you're going to learn a trade in this or whatever the case may be. And if it's woodwork, whatever. Well, this, you actually choose the school or you choose the program and then bring it to them and say, hey, I need you guys to help me cover this. I need you guys to cover this. This is, and whatever programs, and they'll offer whatever other programs they'll have, they'll put you in those programs. They'll ask you, hey, are you interested in this program? Are you interested in that program? They'll put you in those other programs to ensure that you're successful with accomplishing all the goals.
That's what's up.
Oh yeah, do we do shout out? Do we need to do the shout outs this morning? My bad.
Go ahead and start the shout outs. Yeah.
My bad.
Taking down any of this info, this rising.
Yes, Nature's Void. HUD can provide electrician funding for school. You choose the school. But they'll probably ask, and I'm saying this, this is just a probably, only because of the questions that were asked of me when I called down to my local HUD department. They'll probably ask what, if you're doing the electrician's program, what school you're doing that program in, and what do you plan on doing with that education. Basically, they're going to ask questions on, okay, you're getting this education, what is this going to tie into? Because my local HUD department, they gave me a 5-year, okay, in 5 years, you get this education now, how is it going to apply to whatever you're trying to do within the next 5 years?
Yeah, basically a business plan for the next 5 years.
Right. So it wasn't just education, it was, okay, what do you plan on doing as far as a home, not just, even if you're choosing to just rent, like it was just, they covered,
the full setup, basically.
Right.
They're not just putting you in a situation and leaving you there. They're actually walking you completely through and all the way out.
Right.
All right, do this rising shout outs. Oh, you was doing them this rising?
Sure. I'll try to do it as good as TMH. Shout out to TMH. Okay. Shout out to Celestial Love. Shout out to Copper Colored Ancestor. David Corey. Michael Harris Brown Cheek. Shout out. Shout out to Nature's Void. Shout out to Phoenix Rose. Shout out to That Boy Wig. Shout out to Bones. Double Cousin. No, Salvador. Okay. Shout out to Big Hawk. Shout out to, okay, I'm gonna just throw it out there. Pamela Hall. And I hope that's everyone. Okay, maybe I understand what TMH is talking about. I hope that's everyone. Shout out to everybody. Grand Rising.
No problem. I was just posting a link in both chats. And basically, this is how to organize a community garden. This is what we'll be going through this Rising for those who are interested in it, basically. Got it pulled up. Guess I'll start from here. It starts with how to organize a community garden. A community garden can help transform people who happen to live in the same place into a united community. It celebrates diversity and individual plots while creating opportunities for people to work together and learn from each other about gardening, food preparation, and more. They learn to respect each other's differences and to appreciate what they have in common. Community gardens build relationships that last beyond the growing season. In addition, community gardens lead to a more livable environment, creating beauty and reducing crime. Hines 1996, Warner was that Hines C 1987. Increasing home values. And it's been, and what's that? McCoy 2006, and improving the image of the community. So the skills learned and developed in the garden can be used to gain access to public policy, economic resources, which can then help address critical problems such as crime, homelessness, and the urban blight. That's from Armstrong in 2000.
There go that blight word.
There you go. Some keywords. You feel like reading the next paragraph for me? I got to answer this call real quick.
Okay, I got you. Benefits of community gardens. In addition to providing fresh fruits and vegetables, a garden can also be a tool for promoting physical and emotional health, connecting with nature, teaching life skills, and promoting financial security. Health. Community gardens provide a place to grow healthy, nutritious food, resulting in both gardeners and their families eating a wider variety, larger quantity. Sorry, my eyes are messing up. Alamo, Packnett, Miles, and Kruger, 2008. The higher quality of fresh fruits and vegetables. In addition, gardeners increase their physical activity and overall health. Wakefield, Udell, Reynolds, and Skinner, 2007. Nature. For many urban dwellers surrounded by high-rise buildings and concrete, a community garden may provide the only contact with plants, birds, butterflies, and nature. Lessons learned in the community garden about water conservation, water quality preservation, environmental stewardship, and sustainable land use may be taken back to homes, businesses, and schools and implemented, improving environmental health. Life skills. In addition to a wealth of basic horticultural information, gardeners learn important life skills such as planning, organization, and teamwork. Finance. Community gardens may have financial benefits for both the gardener and the landowner. Some gardeners sell the produce they grow. Others benefit by reducing the amount they spend on produce. Property owners may generate income by renting garden plots. Participating in a community garden improves the health of the gardener as well as his or her family, the community, and the environment.
Now, ain't that something?
It is. I mean, I can actually speak personally. When I started, and this is years ago, and at first people were making fun of me, but I was just like, okay, they'll get over it. When I started planting, like I planted fruit trees in my backyard, but and then I played around with planting corn. When I started planting tomatoes, bell peppers, onions, garlic, the fruit trees, blueberries, blackberries, just started, planting in pots and in the ground, fruits and vegetables, like I realized not only was I not going to the grocery store to buy any of that produce, like it grew like it was crazy to see one plant of bell peppers, how many bell peppers came from that, even down to jalapenos, banana peppers. Like it was like, oh, it was so much was growing that I actually had to like freeze, get freezer bags, cut them up, clean them off, cut them up, and put them in the freezer where it was there was no need to go to the grocery store for any produce. Like it really does save, but it also you feel better because you're actually controlling what is not only brought into your home but put into your body. But that grocery bill, it saves.
Yeah, it it shows that it can save on what you're sending out of your household, and it can benefit on what you can bring in towards health and, like they said, also an income.
Right. And then also too, what I noticed is like when my fruit trees. So I noticed the size. So you can tell, okay, this is naturally grown, no chemicals, no anything. And to see a peach growing on my peach tree and then compare it to a peach that's in the grocery store, I'm like, oh, okay, it's not as big but oh, okay, it's a little bit sweeter. It's a little, you know what I mean? Like you start paying attention to what's put out there and how it looks.
Correct. Well, that's the benefits. We'll move down to the next section.
Okay. I'm reading.
Oh, yes, you can. Thanks.
Okay. Types of community gardens. Community gardens are as varied as the neighborhoods in which they thrive. Each is developed to meet the needs of the participants who come together on common ground to grow fruits, vegetables, flowers, herbs, and ornamental plants. Community gardens can be found at such diverse locations as schools, parks, housing projects, places of worship, vacant lots, and private properties. While all these gardens serve as a catalyst for bringing people together and improving community, some of them focus on growing food for the gardeners themselves. Others donate their produce to the hungry. Some focus on education, some on nutrition and exercise, still others on selling produce for income. Some simply provide a venue for sharing the love of gardening. All community gardens provide opportunities for neighborhood renewal and beautification. Types of community gardens. Plot gardens, divided into individual plots. Cooperative gardens work as a team on one large garden. Youth gardens, entrepreneurial market gardens sell produce. Therapeutic gardens. Plot gardens. One familiar strategy is to subdivide the garden into family-size plots ranging in size from 100 to 500 square feet. Sometimes a section of the garden is reserved for the community to grow crops too large for individual plots: corn, pumpkins, watermelons, fruit trees, grapes, and berries. Gardeners divide the bounty from these shared plots. See a design of the typical plot garden in the appendix. On a corner acre lot, there is room for approximately 35 garden plots, each 10 feet by 20 feet, separated by 3 feet wide pathways. Cooperative gardens in a cooperative garden, the entire space is managed as one large garden through the coordinated efforts of many community members. Produce from the garden is sometimes distributed equitably to all the member gardeners. Often, these gardeners are associated with the communities of faith, civic groups, or service organizations that donate part or all of the produce to charitable organizations such as food banks and soup kitchens. Youth gardens. With the increasing interest in science and nutrition education, many primary schools in the United States are planting gardens to serve as outdoor learning laboratories. In the garden, everyone is transformed into a scientist, actively participating in research and discovery. Besides providing a motivating, hands-on setting for teaching skills in virtually every basic subject area, the garden is a wonderful place to learn responsibility, patience, pride, self-confidence, curiosity, critical thinking, and the art of nurturing. Usually, raised bed gardens or a section of the school landscape are assigned to classes. Hands-on curricula and activities are selected to supplement and support the standard course of study for science and nutrition for specific grade levels. In some cases, school gardens require extensive volunteer support so that the classes may be split into small groups of children to work in the garden. Entrepreneurial gardens. Gardeners, young and old, learn business principles and skills by growing and selling produce for local markets and restaurants. Many children have no idea where food comes from before it arrives in the supermarket. They have never seen a garden and have no skills in growing food. At entrepreneurial market gardens, youth learn not only how to grow food, but also how to sell it at local farmers markets or grocery stores. As in 4-H, a leader guides the team through the entrepreneurial process that begins with planting the garden and ends with selling the produce. Therapeutic gardens. Still, other gardens focus on horticultural therapy, using plants to improve the social, educational, psychological, and physical well-being of the gardeners and their caregivers, family, and friends. Located in hospitals, nursing homes, assisted living facilities, retirement communities, outpatient treatment centers, botanical gardens, and other settings, therapeutic gardens are generally designed to be acceptable to people with physical limitations. They may include raised beds and firm pathways to provide access to participate in wheelchairs, braille signage for blind gardeners, special tools for gardeners with limited physical strength, and other accommodations. Therapeutic gardens may be designed for active gardening programs or as a quiet space for reflection. Each of these types of community gardens has different goals and strategies for success. This guide will focus on community gardens with individual family-sized plots, outlining the steps in organizing a community garden.
Hold up. So it just broke down all the different types of gardens there are and how to go about it if you wanted to know more.
Absolutely. And I mean, it's hitting on several points. Having a community garden hits on several points that are positive and positively impactful to the community, not just to elders, but young and old, or I don't know if I can use the word old, but it positively impacts the community of all ages.
So basically a plug and play that got a win-win.
Yeah, I mean, I like it. I mean, just reading off of, this teaches good business, good management. This teaches positive things as far as, okay, you're producing.
Mm-hmm. And plus, whatever you don't know, there's education for it and funding for it.
Right.
Then it's not like you're going into it blindly or just jumping out there.
I mean, absolutely. Even down to planting things just for like flowers that may not, like I said, it all depends on what you want to get out of your community garden. So if you're planting flowers, just for I guess the sell of. That would be good. That is a good skill to teach young people, not even just young people in general. You know what I mean? Just management. You know what I mean? And I'm saying management because there's probably a better word for that. But everybody playing their part. You know, you have someone who focuses on, or some ones who focus on, okay, this is how we maintain it, this is how we, you know, harvest it, this is what we give, this is, you know, you have everyone working together for a common goal, but it's all for the benefit of the community.
Yeah, basically, like I said, it encourages community work, community networking. It encourages you to know the members of your community this way. You know, it kind of make people have to unplug from the TVs and the digital devices and actually get back out here to nature.
Yeah, and you're gonna take pride. Oh, sorry.
No, but also with a benefit for yourself as well. Better quality of food, better environment, more control over what's going in and out of your body.
Yeah.
And we can continue on. I'm just like, wow.
Yeah. Can you read this list for me real quick? I gotta, just real quick, please. I'm sorry.
Grand Rising, y'all.
Double cousin.
Where's TMH at? TM, hey. Grand Rising.
You left off on how to Grand Rising. You left off on the how to start a community garden, correct?
Okay, my bad. Okay, how to start a community garden, right?
That's where you left off at?
Yeah.
All right. Still need me to go ahead and read it?
Nope, I'm reading. I'm reading. Okay. All right. How to start a community garden. As creating a community garden is a substantial project requiring sustained effort over several years. It takes a strong commitment from at least 3 to 5 individuals to create and manage a successful garden. Just because you build it doesn't mean they will come. In fact, seldom is a garden that was what? I don't think I'm getting this right. In fact, seldom is a garden that was designed and built by outsiders, adopted and sustained by a community. Am I reading that question? Okay. Engage the community from the beginning. Many types of organizations sponsor community gardens. Any of the following groups may have land, resources, and interested employees or clients: churches, citizen groups, colleges and universities, community and senior centers, community service development organizations, cooperative extensions, food banks, health departments, high-density housing developments, housing and social service authorities, municipalities, neighborhood associations, park and recreation, private businesses, railroad and transit lines, retirement communities, and schools. Begin by identifying who will be gardening. Will it be youth, families, seniors, a special population, or a people in specific geographic regions? All your decisions will be driven by the goal of meeting the specific needs of the gardeners. Form a planning committee and make preliminary decisions. Include those who will be gardening, nearby residents, and potential partners. Identify, invite leaders within the community and other interested people to an organizational meeting and social gathering. Including food at events is always a plus. Develop a what's going on with me? Develop a well-organized leadership team with committees assigned to specific tasks. For example, recruitment, partnership, development, special events, garden organizations, developed bylaws, see appendix, that clarify the purpose and objectives of the garden. Let me read that again. Develop
bylaws and constitutions again.
There you go. Develop bylaws, see appendix, that clarify the purpose and objectives of the garden. Determine how decisions will be made and what process will be used to select leaders. Clarify how work will be shared and who will be responsible for what. Decide on the scope of garden, including the size and the components. Fruit trees, berries, shared community plot for large crops. Make management decisions, including whether there will be any restrictions on the use of the pesticides and fertilizers. Choose a name for the garden. Create a prioritized.
Basically sound like
a job, a business.
You need a board.
Yeah, I mean, and
we ain't talking like platforms or wood and nothing like that either.
Right, because you're not going in like, okay, you know what? I'm just gonna plant some stuff, and it's no. You need structure. You need to have an understanding. Okay, this is what this is going to be. This is how we're going to do this. So you definitely still need to get together with a group of people who, okay, this is how we're going to do this. You know what I mean? This is how we're going to implement this. And then we'll bring other people on who want to participate. But we, get with a group of people so that you can get that foundation started properly. But even still, with it saying bylaws, that means you need your constitution and bylaws put in place so that it's not just for everyone else, it's also for you, because what you put together, then you also have your own guide on this is the purpose, this is the goal, and this is what we're going to do. This is our structure.
It allows the farm as well to go on if anything else was to happen.
Absolutely.
You understand? It can be structured, the farm keep giving to the community, sort of like what we do here at A2. So Absolutely. It only makes sense, And they're walking you through, this is the template, the walkthrough on how to do it. So you can have something that can stand the test of time if that's what you choose to do.
Hold on, Bones, I heard you say earlier plug and play, and now I'm hearing you say template. What's going on?
Basically, we're breaking down to how to organize a community garden step by step.
Oh, man. Let me know if y'all need me to read anything. I'm going on mute.
Well, you can read once I get to identify.
I'm good. Yeah, that's cool.
I'm up here stuttering and stumbling on my way. I don't know what's going on.
You trying to be Al Jarreau or something?
Okay. Create a prioritized budget and a wish list of desired donations and update it regularly. See appendix. Identify how you will raise money, membership dues, fundraising, grants, and sponsors. Now, that is really interesting because basically what I get from this is that not only are you creating constitutional bylaws that will that keeps going forward, but also who you're going to need funding. I mean, everything as far as, it'd be nice if like if I could fund everything, like, okay, I've got all this taken care of, boom, here's a community garden. But no, you want to actively get other people involved and other organizations involved, because those organizations not just financially, but you never know what resources they have access to that can contribute to your community garden, or other businesses that they may have access to that can contribute to your community garden.
Yeah, different outlets as well.
Right.
Look at it this way: you have a community garden. Now your community can partner up or sign a deal with a restaurant. These restaurants that want from farm to table,
Absolutely.
they're popping up all over. Even the ones that's not even farm to table, you can set up deals with fresh produce.
Facts, exactly.
Like,
Farm to table is important
basically, your
everywhere.
your 4-star, 5-star restaurants, they get fresh produce in every rising and every other rising. So it allows you to negotiate with schools and different people with fresh produce.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah, I know the grocery stores around here, they're most of, not all of, but most of their produce comes from local farms. You know, I know it's bell pepper, corn, onions. It's certain produce in all these groceries, they actually come from local farms. So yeah, that's definitely something to pay attention to, something
Look
to
at that. You got
consider.
benefits with benefits, they got benefits.
Yeah.
I mean, with
And
the double and triple dipping, it seems like it would be called what would we call a loophole back in the day, but it's not no loopholes.
no, because you got to think, you've also got to maintain this garden. It's one thing to establish the garden,
Mm-hmm.
you know, the community garden, you actually have to maintain that garden. So you're going to need equipment, you know, whether it's, you know, gloves, aprons, you know, shovels, or, you know, the hand shovels, but you're also going to need seeds, you know, you're going to need to get with, well, it depends on how you want to do your garden, but if you want to deal with, you know, local farmers in the area that can share seeds with you, or even down to local farmers who can share techniques, you know, natural techniques, or grown, you know, farming techniques, so that it can ensure and maintain the garden. So it's not like, okay, we're, you know, establish the garden and everything will grow. Yeah, it'll grow, but it still has to be maintained. So yeah, you gotta you gotta talk with people, get with those groups that know other people that know other people. I just saying.
Correct. Then again, it shows how you can take a community garden and transform it into a community business.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And how much, I mean, it's one of those things I know I've told my children, and I just assume that, you know, you take more pride in the things that you work hard for, that you put your time and effort in, you take pride in that. And so if you've got a community, you know, assisting, whether it's volunteering, working, whatever the case may be, you take pride in it. You know, when you work for a company, it's like when you work for a company, yeah, I get benefits, this and that. You take pride in the company. This is where I work. This is my home. You know what I mean?
Correct. We can move on whenever y'all ready to go to the next section.
Okay. Consider the need for insurance as well as potential sources and cost. Explore whether any of your partnering organizations can provide insurance for free or at a minimal cost. Many landowners require liability insurance, but many insurance carriers and their underwriters are reluctant to cover community gardens. Consider working with a firm that represents many different carriers and get at least one quote from one of 10 largest insurance carriers. So that's also important too, because again, they're getting into the business aspect of the community garden. Yes, it's great to plant and grow and
Just in, They just didn't give you a walkthrough on how to get insurance on something that's supposed to be hard to get insurance for, now did they?
Yes.
No, that sound like another your favorite thing, nigga. That plug and play
That
again.
plug and play. Look, man. I remember when Microsoft Word had all those templates. They probably still got templates. That was my favorite thing on the computer was like templates. This is already done. I just got to plug in my stuff. Come on, son.
Mm-hmm. But that's important. I mean, I'm gonna keep.
Again, it's for those who are interested in it, so they can do it without jumping out there in the dark or feeling like they're taking on too much and not knowing the next steps, when it's basically a step-by-step walkthrough. So
Yeah, and even I'll say this: even if a community garden isn't your thing, I would take from this is there are ways and steps to do anything that you're choosing to endeavor in. So if a community garden isn't your thing, I personally would take this as, oh, okay, so if I wanted to start any type of business, I would still need to incorporate some of this. I would still need to incorporate dealing with other businesses and organizations. I would still need to find out about insurance. I would still need to go through, different things to establish this for my business. And that's with any business.
especially if you want it to be successful.
Absolutely. And why not do it the proper way the first time, then, why not do it the proper way the first time? Okay, identifying potential partners, sponsors, or funders. Seek out donations of money, labor, land, soil amendments, tools, seeds, plants, fencing, and supplies. Above is a list of potential partners. See the sample budget and the potential funding sources in the appendix. To build effective relationships with partners, donors, or funders, it is useful to track several kinds of information. 1, contact information. 2, actual contacts. Who from the garden contacted whom? 3, when contacted, with what request? What was the outcome? 4, gift history. What have they donated to the garden in the past? See the appendix for a sample tracking form. So basically, this is organization. You're going to need to keep books. It's basically budgeting, not just the contact information, who you're contacting, what you're contacting them for, how did they contribute before, what are they contributing now? So you're going to need to keep, this is a business. I mean, it's breaking it down that a community garden still needs to be run structurally.
Yeah. Where would one learn how to do all of this? Like if you're not business oriented or business minded and you're getting into this sounds like it could be overwhelming at some point.
I'm sorry.
Ahead, I'm sorry. No, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, let me go. Hold up.
No, let me go.
Rock, paper, scissors, 3 ways.
So what I was thinking is that, like, I know at the local community college, they have a business class, a business management class where you don't have to get an associate's degree, but they do have a class that teaches you how to manage business and, breaks down the ins and outs. And being that community college has that class, has that course for you to take, that's, like a couple of months. Even one of them, I already checked on it on here in this local area. They have one class that's like 2 months. It's a 2-month class, but that's funding through HUD to cover that class. And I mean, the class itself is only $75, but I mean, if you don't have it, hey, HUD, how you doing? I'm
What
going to
up?
take this class, and this is short-term education. This is short-term education. Can you cover it real quick, please?
And even you also got your SBA, your Small Business Administration of your area.
There you
They
go.
also offer a lot of free courses on business management as well.
There you go. Yeah. Oh, let me just add too. When you fill out an application and you go to your local HUD for training in one area, it doesn't stop you or limit you from coming back to going back and getting training and extended education in something else. If all of those are, if you're leading up to one specific goal or goals, if all the things that you're going for all tie together, it doesn't, you don't just go in and say, okay, I just want this one education. If it requires several different training courses or extended education, you can still go back. It's not one thing you have to go there for. Just want to throw that out there real quick. Only reason why I know is because I called. I had a
Great point. Thanks for the info. I mean, might as well. If you're in a situation to where you can improve your standing in life, and all it's costing you is to pay attention and time, why not?
right.
Whether it's farming, electrical, construction, manufacturing, whatever it's going to be, the basic skeleton on how you put it together is going to remain the same regardless.
Right.
Again, plug and play, plug and play.
Man, oh man.
Somebody had the next section.
Okay. Yeah. Where'd I go? Choose a site. All right. Choose a site. Clean water, healthy soil, local or imported, 6 hours of sunlight per day, and a location in which gardeners feel safe are essential to success. The site should be convenient to the intended audience. There should be easily accessible, clean, and affordable irrigation water available. Once you have found a suitable lot, identify the landowner to see if he or she is interested. If possible, obtain a list of previous uses of the land to evaluate potential contamination. Do a soil test to identify the existing nutrient level and ensure the absence of heavy metals. Now, let me just, because we talked about this this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say you choose an area that you do the soil test and you pull the history of the uses of that land, and let's say that the soil doesn't have the nutrients that's needed to actually plant things into the ground, into the soil. That doesn't mean that you can't still use that area. If that ideal area is good is local to, in the community, and a lot of people are willing to help, it doesn't mean you have to have everything in ground. You can do, you can have containers, you can have pots, you can plant things like
Raised beds.
Yes, thank you, double cousin. You
Yep.
can still utilize that area. You just won't be utilizing it in the way that you first initially intended by planting everything in the ground. Which, if you really think about it, if you have raised beds, you can kind of do levels of, okay, I've got this raised bed here, and you can kind of get creative with it. You know what I mean? Do like a trellis, and then you've got, a raised bed where you've got grapes planted or whatever's viney, do like a trellis. And then since you can't use the soil, get decorative, throw rocks down a pathway, or bricks or whatever, to where you still can utilize that property. You're just not utilizing it in the way where you're planting everything in the ground.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm into fabric pot gardening, like container gardening. So
Right.
everything above the ground, everything mobile. You can move those plants around.
Right.
And yeah, the landscape or curb appeal for your farm or garden, you can get real creative with it when you do
Absolutely.
raised beds and container garden. Real functional, real feng shui.
Yeah, and think about it when you're doing raised beds or container gardening, depending on how the once the plants, like if they're expanding and you transport them, you take them from one container to another, you still get to keep those initial containers and reuse those, so that
Exactly.
saves on supplies and whatnot. So it's there's other options if you found a piece of land that is suitable close to the neighborhood, within the neighborhood, still good for everyone. There's still other options, even
Yep.
if it doesn't meet the minerals and nutrient needs to plant in ground.
Yeah, you can actually build your soil. I'm sure you said, I heard you mention, soil amendments and seeds and all that stuff. So I'm assuming if you can get all that stuff, you can get soil. You can purchase good soil and soil amendments to make your own soil. You can build your own soil.
Right, and there's a great conversation to have with the community on understanding and establishing a compost heap where you take natural things, not meat. Don't ever throw meat. I'm just gonna put that out there. You cannot put meat in anything that is considered meat, and it means like if it's an animal, don't throw that in there.
Chicken skin, do not do it.
Yeah, no, don't.
No.
Can't go in there. Just no. But taking leaves, even down to like if you know anyone who's out in the country, if you burn, because I don't know how but when you burn leaves and wood and different things, take those ashes.
Biochar.
Yeah, it's there. I mean, there are awesome ways to do this. Just saying. Okay, I'll keep reading.
You just saying.
Okay. And even okay, so this is an idea I was thinking about this weekend. Like say if you pick a piece of land that there's no water set up. You can, and I say this because I called around to a couple of water companies, just water distributing, where you get the gallons of water and stuff from them, where you can have something like how a water tower, and you can create lines that distribute that water. You have something like a water tower or like a big container that distributes water through a valve. You can just get creative with it. Just saying. Okay, I'm reading. Like I said, I was thinking this weekend. Writing down all kind of thoughts. This is gonna happen. Okay. Did I read that? Negotiate a lease or written agreement that allows the space to be used as the community garden for at least 5 years. In the written agreement, clearly identify who is responsible for providing water and security, what liability insurance is required, what fee, if any, will be required, and when is it due, who will be responsible for clearing the property to prepare it for gardening, what, if any, resources the owner will be providing, what would be grounds for terminating the contract, vandalism, weeds, who the primary contact for the garden and the primary owner will be, and their contact information. Community and senior centers, where people gather with the expectation of taking part in organized activities, have excellent potential as community garden sites. Becoming involved prior to construction increases the likelihood of space being reserved on site for gardening. Vacant lots are widely available in large cities. Often, city officials are happy to save money by having someone else take care of the property. Check with your local planning and zoning departments for leads. Do not plant an edible garden in the floodplain. Stormwater can wash in biological stormwater can wash in biological contaminants like sewage from flooded septic tanks and chemical pollutants from a variety of sources. And
Ew.
again, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Ew.
Ew.
Yeah, that's ill. But then again, you have if like say if you check that the area that you choose, it is a flood area. Again, raised beds.
Mm-hmm. Come
You
on,
know what I
son.
mean? Like I mean, is there.
But they also
Just
informing you how to go about it so you don't find yourself on the negative end of these situations.
Absolutely.
mm-hmm.
Organize the garden. Establish criteria for membership in the garden. For example, residents in a specific geographic region, payment of dues, agreement with rules, and participating in upkeep of common areas. Identify the selection process for initial gardeners and for gardeners choosing to fill vacancies. Determine a strategy for assigning plots, family size, residency, need, order, or of request. Specify how many maintenance of the common area of the garden will be managed: weeds, irrigation, tools, compost piles. Spell this out in bylaws and the memorandum of understanding. Again, those constitution and bylaws. You want to have your foundation so that you're not just um,
Doing something
interacting
just
with
to
other
do.
people and just going off of, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just saying doing something just to be doing for the sake of doing something.
Right. And it's yeah, because when you put something down on paper, you actually have your own guide to too, so that you're not making stuff up as you go. Right? No? Okay, I'm reading.
Correct.
I'm reading. All right. Identify how dues, if collected, will be used and what services, if any, will be provided to gardeners in return. If you decide to obtain communal tools, hoses and supplies, identify what they will be stored, where, nope, identify how they will be stored and distributed. Decide how often the gardeners will be expected to participate in group work days. Schedule group project work days and potlucks. Social events enhance the success of the garden. Consider the pros and cons of forming a nonprofit organization and working towards owning the garden site. Let me read that again.
Please
Consider the
do.
pros and cons of forming a nonprofit organization and working toward owning the garden site.
Well, look at here.
Now, I say this. If you're talking with, if you see a piece of land, a plot of land that you'd like that would be ideal for a community garden, and the owner, if it's a privately owned owner or it's owned by the city or whoever, if you're making a 5-year agreement with them, if they haven't been doing anything, and most times you're picking something that a area that hasn't been utilized. It's just been sitting there, collecting weeds, maybe just concrete, may not be, but it's just been sitting there. So if they haven't been doing anything with it before and you're choosing it, then most likely it'd be easier to obtain ownership of it. And that's just my thoughts. I'm just saying. That's just how I'm thinking. With a nonprofit. I'm just saying. Okay, I'm keep reading. Keep governance simple and responsive. In the beginning and even later for small gardens, an informal structure may be all you need. As the number of people and the workload expands, a more formal structure may enable each gardener to participate fully and the group to perform effectively. Structure can promote stability, trust, and a foundation for growth. It also provides a framework within which new leaders can be cultivated. Some potential recruiting Some potential recruiting strategies include contacting community organizations such as churches and schools, posting flyers, advertising through local media, connecting with residents who can help spread the news. Developing written bylaws is an excellent process for being sure that the planning committee agrees about expectations for members and officers, as well as consequences for not following the rules. It is also useful in communicating these to the members. If enforcement becomes necessary, the steps are clear and fair application is transparent. See the sample in the appendix and review samples for organizations that you respect. Many gardens find it useful to have memorandum of understanding signed by each gardener. See the sample in the appendix. This document clearly identifies all the requirements, timelines, and consequences for not adhering to the rules, which I think is really, really good. Like you want to, you want to have your bylaws, you want to have all this together, but you want to keep it structured so that everybody is on the same accord. Everybody is following the same rules.
And yes, you can apply this to family land. So a family plot, yes, you can apply this plan to it.
Okay.
I'm just here to make sure y'all being fair. This don't sound like it's fair. Actually, it sounds more than fair.
Rural area, it's actually a lot more easier in a rural area.
And I mean, thinking, just think about it. You set this up in one area and then expand it. You know, once you get the ins and outs and establishment of one, you know, especially if you know that other areas need it, then go ahead and get it set up in one and then expand it into another area. You know, if you're in the city, of course, you know, but even in rural areas, I mean, that's just how I'm thinking.
Yeah, because you only, like we said before, you only need one. Just like this is plug and play. Once you get one, you can work with other communities and helping other like-minded communities get established. And that's relatives, that's how we get out of these situations. Those who can, we do, and we work with each other through our communities,
Absolutely.
uplifting our communities together. No one has to do this alone.
Okay, when I get to it, Double Cousin, you got potential problems and solutions?
Proof's not a problem. Oh, yeah. Yes, I did.
Just put a napkin on it. Create a garden plan with plot sizes and location. Reserve space in the plan for all the components you hope to eventually add in the garden, even if you do not currently have the resources to install them. Consider including storage sheds. Consider including storage sheds, compost bins, picnic tables, and gathering space, a rainproof bulletin board, a children's plot, ornamental perimeter planting for curb appeal, and a irrigation system. See the appendix for a sample garden design. Wide pathways make for good neighbors. A minimum of 3 feet is necessary to allow for wheelbarrows and carts to pass by plots outstanding damaging plants. Plan community work days to remove existing rubbish and weeds. Lay out the beds and prepare the soil. Install an irrigation system if desired. This might include installation of 1-inch PVC pipe placed underground, which connects to conveniently locate spigots. spigots, and or drip irrigation for the individual beds. Consider freeze proofing the plumbing to prevent the expense and inconvenience of flooding if the pipes burst. Install a sign with contact information and a bulletin board to share educational information, meeting notices, contacting information, and tasks. So I'm reminded. So this is one of the thoughts after going through over the stuff that we talked about this weekend, and I found this weekend. Definitely make sure you consider the rows and the space between what you plant, and how, if you do raised beds in soil, however you're doing it, make it wide enough and wheelchair accessible. So if you're planting something that, yes, it's in the ground, make pathways that are, bricked out.
Nothing but facts.
Yeah. So that it's, you got bricks there, or what is it? Those concrete slabs or whatnot that are
Yeah, pavers.
Yeah.
Even still, even if you have a in-ground garden, and pretty much mix it up too, and have some raised beds that are wheelchair accessible, because that is muy importante.
Yeah, because if you have the option of having some things where you can have raised beds, and whether it's someone coming to, get things from the garden or wanting to volunteer, um, yeah, you want to make sure you're no one feels not definitely left out or excluded. But if someone can help, and let's just say they may happen to be in a wheelchair, that's just how I'm thinking. I would be more than happy to make sure that they're accommodated, especially if they're wanting to help.
Mm-hmm.
Double cousin, you're ready?
What you talking about, Willis? Oh, yeah, it's my turn.
You whack. I'm talking about reading.
Nah. I'm a little raspy today. I don't think I can do it. Let me mic check.
Oh yeah. Okay. I'm sorry. I just saw the question.
Oh, somebody had a question in the chat. Am I talking about
A copper color ancestor says, I know in Texas you can harvest a certain amount of rain, so that a great idea to have a separate water source. I mean, and this is just my thoughts, and I had to learn this. I didn't know. I know that's where they could do there, but where I'm at, I didn't know. I had like these 15-gallon or 30-gallon containers, and I put them in the front yard to collect rainwater. Said you couldn't collect it, so I put them in the backyard to collect rainwater. That is a good idea as a natural source to add to the watering of plants.
It falls out of the sky at a 6.5 pH naturally.
Yeah, especially if you live in a state that allows you to collect it, even up to a certain amount. Yeah, why not?
Yeah, I have 2
Great
containers.
idea.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. I was just saying that's a great idea.
Yeah, I mean, I have 2 containers that actually the algae that builds up on the outside of it, and usually when you see algae, you're like, oh no, the water's dirty. It's actually not. That algae in the containers that I have, when the rainwater is collected in there, it actually helps the plants grow a little bit bigger. I don't know what it is, but yeah. Okay, double cousin, I'm sorry, my bad. I saw a thing at the top of my screen that said new message. My bad.
No, you good. Be answered. All right. Potential problems and solutions. Oh, they answering the problems? Wait a minute.
Yes, they answering them too.
Yeah,
What is the solution?
He said,
but
they answered them?
We're a solution-based platform. No, that's good. So
Wait, does that fall under proof is not a problem?
I would think so. Yeah.
Okay.
Partner.
If you also Gonna offer a problem, give me a solution. All right. So no
Okay.
topsoil. No topsoil. Many potential garden sites in communities and schools had the topsoil removed during grading or have been built on quote unquote fill materials. If this is the case, raised beds with imported topsoil may be needed. Beds should be 12 to 24 inches deep. Did y'all hear that?
Wait, so they even tell you, hold on.
Wait.
They give you, hold on.
I didn't know that. I know about raised beds, but man, all right, let's go.
Now I know how to, okay, 12 to 24 inches deep. All right. Okay, go ahead.
I mean, that took one paragraph, maybe three sentences to give me a problem and a solution to it. So I appreciate whoever wrote this up. Weeds. Let's go with prevention. In the memorandum of understanding, specify weed management requirements for personal plots, pathways, and community areas. Assign all plots in the garden so none are left untended for weeds to spread. Encourage the use of mulch around plants to minimize soil surface area available for weeds to grow.
So that's also talking about beautification.
Playing for weeds?
Right. So that's also talking about you're not just planting things, you're also making sure it's also it's the beautification. It's keeping maintained, but also pretty at the same time. Interesting. Oh, a flower, yep. So pretty.
And obviously mulch. You can use different materials for mulch. You don't have to use manure, and things like that. You can use rubber. They have shredded rubber for recycled mulch. You can use, I mean, just plenty of things. But yeah, where am I at? Where we at? What we doing? Am I on?
We can hear you.
Management. Look, here go the answer. Y'all. Intervene early. Stop playing. The smaller the weed, the easier it is to remove. By removing weeds before they flower and set seed, you prevent the next generation. I mean, they do the same thing flowers do, y'all. Have a work day and encourage gardeners to work together to remove weeds. And they make new like handheld machines and simple tools that make weed removal easier. So you don't really have to get down on your knees for weeds per se. They make tools, hand tools. So angry neighbors. Sound like somebody YouTube channel. Prevention. Specify in bylaws, what is that word that keeps popping up? How the plots must be kept and the consequences for not complying. Enforce the bylaw. There it is again. Work at building a positive relationship with neighbors. Management. Meet with the neighbors in person to clearly identify their concerns and, if well-founded, explain how you intend to address them. A well-organized garden with strong leadership and committed members can overcome almost any obstacle.
Sounds like cooler heads will prevail.
Mic check.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Arguments between gardeners. But y'all supposed to be Zen. Prevention. Make pathways at least 3 feet wide. This minimizes the possibility of damaging plants when passing by with a wheelbarrow or cart. Stake the corners of the plots to prevent hoses from being dragged across plants. In the memorandum of understanding, clearly state any restrictions on fertilizer and pesticide uses. In the memorandum of understanding, clearly state any restrictions on fertilizer and pesticide uses. Consider setting aside a part or all of the garden as either organic or pesticide free. I'm gonna say all.
Yeah.
Consider setting aside all of the garden as either organic or pesticide free. Y'all better read up if you don't know. Group. Well, I ain't gonna say that. We'll talk about it. I ain't gonna make you do that. Group all plots designated as organic or pesticide free to minimize the potential for chemical drift from other gardens' plots, manage weeds, enforce the bylaws and the memorandum of understanding.
Okay. So basically what I'm getting from this is that if you're gonna if this is what it is, a community garden, when you're getting other gardeners involved, if those gardeners are assigned certain plots, they're actually allowed to grow things the way that they choose. So it would probably be best if starting your community garden, when starting your community garden, that you establish, regardless of if being chemical and pesticide free is how you want the community garden to be, if that's something that you actually implement in your constitution and bylaws for your nonprofit, or your bylaws for your community garden. So that eliminates any future confusion, or it
Yeah.
just shuts down any possible argument like, this is what I want to do. And this is just me. Like, I personally, if all you know how to, if you, hmm, the whole, I don't know if this is going to get into something else, but a community garden, it's a garden that you're involving the community in, and you're making them more aware of not just natural ways, but bringing the community together. I don't personally, this is just me, my community garden, yeah, can't nobody bring no pesticides or chemicals. We're gonna have to figure it out. I don't care if it's with coffee grinds or
Well, if you have it structured in your constitution and bylaws from the beginning, then all parties know what it is before they even get involved in it. That's why it's important to sit down, think it out, get with the people that you're working with to actually come up with something that's workable. You get what I'm saying? So you don't
yeah,
have these issues moving forward.
yeah. I
Again,
just
that's why constitution and bylaws are very important. It saves you down the road for unforeseen potential things that can pop up.
yeah. People just consider with your community gardens, when you're dealing with pesticides and chemicals. Earlier, us reading that you got to deal with insurance. That means you're dealing with any potential liability. So when you're dealing with any potential liability, pesticides and chemicals that are used in the community garden, there is a type of liability to that, if that makes sense. Okay, my bad, I'm quiet, I'm on mute.
Ready when you are, no sellout.
Hold up, I got a tickle in my throat. Mic check.
We can hear you.
I don't know where I was.
Management.
What you doing, like work? Engage those involved in identifying issues and potential resolution. Handle issues before they escalate. And this was under arguments between gardeners. Abandoned plots. Prevention. Sorry about that. Include in the memorandum of understanding clear expectations for how the plot is to be maintained and the process for reassigning the plot as a consequence of failure to comply. Management. Charge an initial deposit that can be used to cover the cost of cleaning up abandoned plots. Sorry, I'm getting knocks on the door. Abandoned plots. No, theft. Prevention. Designate a plot near the entrance for people to quote unquote help themselves. Put up a sign inviting them to harvest from this and only this plot. Plant potatoes, other root crops, or less popular vegetables such as kohlrabi along the sidewalk or fence. Plant the purple varieties of cauliflower and beans or white eggplants to confuse vandals. Rather than purchasing fancy new hoses, get old hoses donated. Old hoses are rarely stolen. Encourage gardeners to plant more than they will need to prepare for potential loss. Recruit garden neighbors to help keep an eye out for and report intruders. Management. Keep gardeners and neighbors informed. Vandalism. Prevention. Put up a sign identifying the garden as a neighborhood project. Raised beds may prevent trampling. Be inclusive. Develop a shared vision and ownership of the garden. Nurture relationships with neighbors and community residents. Request their assistance in keeping a protective eye out over the garden. Establish children's plots within the garden and invite young people within the community to participate. Consider marketing the youth plots to local scout troops, daycares, foster grandparent programs, and church groups to increase the number of people in the garden and decrease the amount of time it is vacant. Consider offering free small plots in the children's garden to the children of community gardeners. Create a comfortable, shady meeting area in the garden and encourage gardeners and neighbors to spend time there. Harvest all ripe fruit and vegetables on a daily basis. Red tomatoes falling from the vines are hard to resist. Hold meetings and encourage others to hold meetings and social events in the garden. Install a fence. This will not keep out someone who is determined to come in. However, it clearly marks possession of a property and will keep out dogs. Plant raspberries, blackberries, roses, or other thorny plants along the fence as a barrier to climbing. Management. Take time to allow the gardeners to reflect on the experience and share ideas on how to prevent future vandalism. The keys to a successful community garden of individual plots include forming a strong planning team, choosing a safe site accessible to the target audience with sunlight and water, organizing a simple, transparent system for management, and designing and installing the garden. Even with all of these strategies, it is possible to have problems. Address them quickly and fairly before tensions build. Hate.
I mean, any thoughts on it? And again,
Well,
this will be posted in the forums for anyone want to go through it, because there's links where you can go through it step by step. So we'll have it posted in the forum, and it's also in the chat.
I guess I like how they threw the stuff that could go wrong at the end.
Yeah.
But you know, I don't know. I don't foresee. I don't ever foresee people being angry with each other when it comes to gardening. I understand like some of these issues, like plots being too close, things being not respected. But other than that, I mean, that's just human to human relationships. So yeah, go ahead, Gabrielle. I'm sorry.
No. I mean, I'm glad that they put it at the end too. I mean, even reading and hearing you say, reading through the possible negative things. At the end of the day, I mean, it's a community garden. So if people are hungry, give it to them. You know what I mean? Of course, you want it to be maintained, and I doubt that. Well, I don't know. It's just okay. I'm seeing the silver lining. I'm seeing the positive things.
I mean, most definitely. I mean, I take from it, if it's something that you're into, that basically there's a template, and not only a template, different programs to where you can educate yourself further on it programs to walk you through it step by step. And then the final goal and outcome of it, I mean, it's a benefit individually and community-wise.
Yeah, let me throw in something real quick. I got blackberries growing in my backyard, and they're not thorny. I got raspberries too. This is what I'm gonna say. I personally wouldn't suggest that somebody plants blackberries or raspberries along any fencing on whatever plot that you choose or area of land that you choose to establish your community garden. And I say this because blackberries will take over. Like they vine out, they root, and they will once you get that planted in the ground and they are able to curve over and touch, that's it. The roots they'll sprout out any and everywhere. I'm just saying. Some things just keep in mind when you plant them because you have to maintain them or they will try to. It's like melons, watermelons, cantaloupe, really any viney melon fruit. But blackberries and raspberries, yeah, they will spread out and take over. Just saying. Just want to throw that in there real quick.
Duly noted. I mean, again, it shows that if it's something that people are interested in, that there is a guide on how to get started.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you were saying earlier and over this weekend that basically all states have programs to where you can contact someone to get more information, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so I don't know how it can be any more easier if you really want to know. I mean, now the information is out there about it. Like I said again, it will be in a form. So if anybody want to check it out or download it, check. Like I said, it has links on it that goes into further detail on each category. Anything else anybody want to add on to what we went over this Rising?
Yeah. Can I throw in there that you can also use the resources from HUD to get the funding that you need for this?
Go ahead.
No, I'm just saying, like you can, you can put together. If you look at the link that Bones put in there, you can put together basically a budget and what is it? Like a proposal so that you can go through HUD to utilize HUD for the funding you need to get this community garden going if that's what you choose to do. Just want to throw that out there.
Yeah, I can't wait to. I'm gonna go through this again. I don't miss the beginning of it, but yeah, this is my speed right here.
Man, I've already thought about it. I'm going to Dollar Tree. I'm gonna get me some cardboard. I'm gonna put like makeshift. I'm gonna do a whole model. You know what I mean? Like, look, this is what it's gonna look like. I'm about to get real creative. Like, look, here's my proposal, but look, let me show you what it's gonna be. It's like I'm not even joking. I'm going to Dollar Tree to get some fake grass. I'm gonna make a little Play-Doh and paint them red and whatever.
You better build a Sims universe real quick. You're like, hold on, wait a minute.
I'm trying to tell you, look.
You just stop at the garden and just do this for a living.
Do little fences. Put
you build a diorama for children.
Yes, I'm about to do a diorama for real. This is the community garden. Put little people on there.
Man,
I'm not even joking. I'm so serious. For real. Got a little panoramic thing going.
Excuse me. What's my motivation?
For real. I'm so serious. But also too, I thought about doing that so that I could have a floor plan, something visual for the people that I'm gonna get together with. So when it's a lot easier to have a visual in front of you, like a lot of people are very creative. You know what I mean? And the people I talk to, they may have different ideas, and that's great. So let's take this idea and let's put it on our little a little panoramic thing, or let's put it together on here so that we can have a visual of what we're going to actually do and implement and go from there. That's just me. I'm just saying.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Be like elementary school all over again. I'm playing with Play-Doh and paint.
I guess that's all the info that we have for today on this subject. We can go ahead and get ready to shut it down so everyone can get some work today. Get it out the way.
Oh, oh, my bad. I'm off mute. I was reading a question.
Oh, I thought you found out who was.
No.
Gabrielle, closing remarks.
Closing remarks. Okay, so yeah, continue on your journey of doing your genealogy. Know who you are and don't let nobody tell you who you are. Know for yourself so that nobody can tell you different. Of course, census. Keep in mind, census come and be counted for, so that you can be counted and you can count. Um, but yeah, there's resources out there. If you have an idea, if you have a thought, like, hey, this is I want to do this, but I don't have the education or I need the training. It's out there. Like there's literally no limit to what you can accomplish. I haven't seen, like I said, there's programs for programs for programs for programs. They will pay for your training. They will pay for your education. They will pay to assist you getting your business established. If you want to be an entrepreneur, you want to be a business owner, they actually have programs that will help you get that done. If you want to be an employee, but you want a better job, they actually have programs to help you get that. If you don't want to own a home, but you just want to rent in a better neighborhood, if that's your choice, I mean, that's up to you, but they have programs that will assist you with that. If you want to become a homeowner, they have programs that will assist you. We'll just say whatever it is. Um, they will assist you with that. They have programs that will help fund that, which is that's what we want to hear. That's what we want to know. Like, is there something out there for us? Yeah, there is. So yeah, uh, call your local HUD. Call them and ask them, hey, what do I need to do? What programs do you have? Um, and see what they have to offer you. And if they don't have certain programs, then hey, and these are the programs that you'd like to implement, then yeah. So yeah, we have no excuses. We are responsible. You can't unhear it. The bell, you cannot unring a bell. So yeah, peace to the panel, peace to the chat, peace to the silent majority. And double cousin shout out for words of wisdom. Thank you for this. This is a reiteration from the other day. Um, if you want to know your past life, look into your present condition. If you want to know your future life, look at your present actions. And I am not what happened to me. I am what I choose to become. Everyone have a beautiful day.
All right. No sellouts. You got any closing remarks?
Yeah, my children might too. So hold on. See, you don't know how to be quiet. Peace to the panel. Peace to the chat. Grand Rising, everybody. Peace to everybody. We'll see y'all tomorrow. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, and/or corrections, please hit us up at tauntousassembly@gmail.com. Check the website, the forum, the radio station, the replays. Don't play yourself, play the replays. Yeah, man, hit us up. I mean, the stuff is here. Plug and play. The templates. That's easy stuff. That's easy stuff. Peace, y'all. Say peace, y'all. Okay, you ignore me. Peace, y'all.
All right. Once again, like to thank the panel for the work they put in every rising to make the show what it is. Also, much thanks to the active chat every rising and the silent majority. Without y'all, none of this would be possible. And again, this is some more information for those who are interested in farming, community gardens, producing their own food, trying to find different solutions to fix the conditions of the community. And this is just one program of many more that we're going to inform our communities about, that we're going to keep bringing to the forefront. But it does us no good if we don't use this information. And it doesn't mean everybody has to pick up everything that's put out there. Those who can, just use the information to do the best that you can, to change what you can change. And if all of us just pick up a part and do what we can do, we're going to meet on that road together, accomplishing this mission, fixing our conditions, cleaning up our communities, showing a better way for our future generations. So let's make sure we continue working on our genealogy. We continue communicating in our communities to better understand the needs of our communities so we know where we can use our services to help our communities. Till we link up to tomorrow's Rising Show, remember we love you and peace.
Peace, everybody.
Peace, y'all.
Warning, hard hats, big axe, shovels, required.